Darren Ravel on Collect TV here with Ike Wynter, who is the man behind the NFL draft. What am I talking about? He is the guy that when you saw those guys when anyone who was drafted go through the hallway, when they were touching things, they were touching their team logo, and it was 3 foot by 3 foot, these big pieces of, believe it or not, wood. And believe it or not, none of those pieces were painted or stained. Ike, I've been following on Instagram for a while. Um, I can't believe, why did you come up with the idea? I know you were in the junk business for a while, and these are reclaimed pieces of wood. But how did you come up with the idea of I won't stain it or paint it?
I was just like, the curiosity was just like, can I make art that potentially looks cooler than other wood artists' art, but without using any store-bought materials? So the whole goal was like, don't go to the store to buy or to make art. I'm not an artsy kid. I was never an artist growing up. So it was just like, I enjoy cutting wood, first of all. I grew up around hand saws and different things. So the smell and like feeling and sensation of cutting wood has always been something that since I was very young. Yeah, and I just wanted to challenge myself of like, can I make cool stuff without altering the colors? And I don't know, it's just like a fun puzzle and challenge for me.
So what was the first piece that you actually did and had confidence you could make this type of stuff?
The first thing I ever tried making was a coffee table out of a pallet that I found on the side of the road. Um, it was an era of Pinterest and people turning pallets into things. So I just was very curious one night and said, what does building a coffee table look like? I had never built a piece of furniture in my life. I still have it to this day. It's not very sturdy, but it's still standing. And then about 4 months after I built that, I had built about 10, 12 coffee tables, sold them on Facebook Marketplace to friends and family. And 3, 4 months later on Instagram, I randomly came across a girl who was making wood wall art. I'm like, oh, that's way cooler because like you don't have to sand it or varnish it or have it like, usable and interactive because it can hang on the wall and be rough wood. Um, so I'm like, oh, wood wall art is that's what I have to try. So from there I built like these mountainscape things. They were like geometric mountain pieces. And over the course of like 4 years, I probably built 400 of them.
Oh
Like
my God.
just building mountain after mountain, just pallets, fences, and mountains. That was my life, and I loved it. It was cool. It was fun. I was just doing like a puzzle. So it was that, and then in 2021, I went on a trip with some other creatives, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm like, I gotta get away from these mountain things, dude. I gotta make art that is different, that truly is different, and I built um, this water thing. And I remember posting and be like, hey guys, this is gonna be different, but I think it's cool. And I posted it and people were like, this is what? Like, I knew it was different because I didn't grow up an artist. I grew up a kid going to museums and not understanding what I was looking at.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of society does that. And I want to somewhat change the dynamic or the conversation around that because I don't understand abstract art or modern art. But if you turn the corner at a museum and saw a giant Crayola box made out of wood, I think the average person would be like, that's pretty cool. And I'd
Yeah.
understand it. So it's come a long way. It started with mountains for 4 or 5 years. I was able to do the Tyson piece pretty early on, and now it's taken a niche of a niche to do, nostalgic logos, iconic logos, and then mental health awareness pieces and stuff. So yeah.
So tell me about your rise. So the first, I know you did something for Mike Tyson, but like you are very uh social in terms of like people following. You're something that like once you see your stuff and you say I don't stain it or paint it, you have to follow you. You have to. There's nothing else. So like what was the rise? What was the moment that you started to catch on?
Yeah, I mean, it was a hobby for about 5 years, just like out of curiosity. Can I build stuff? I was mainly doing like landscape stuff, so like mountains. I did like a golf course one time. Then really, yeah, the opportunity for a Mike Tyson piece came up like very early on. I had the chance. I knew his producer and his videographer very well. So he said, "Hey, can you build a cool piece for Tyson?" And then that blew up on TikTok. That was like 2022. I was, back and forth between jobs. I was working for a nonprofit in Los Angeles. So at the time, that was my priority. And then when I wasn't working for them, I was just coming home and building art. Um, and really, then a year ago today, I actually built a 3 foot tall crayon box, a Crayola
That was
crayon box.
it, the Crayola. That's the first time I
Yeah.
followed you.
And that's a year ago today, which was a very pinnacle moment. That's kind of when everything changed a year ago. From that stemmed a collab with the Milwaukee Brewers. I got into the New York Stock Exchange.
You did a
Uh,
Robin Yount. You did a
I
Robin
did a
Yount
Robin Yount
50th.
piece. I made a piece for a Power Ranger. I mean, it was just like then I got connected with the NHL through that, so it all just like snowballed. So the crayon box was very a pinnacle moment. That was a year ago today. That video came out, and I mean that's what
Was
grew
that a
my.
commission or you just made that yourself?
I just made it myself. I still own it to this day. It's hanging downtown Milwaukee right now at a hotel for a month, just to showcase it. And yeah, and then really the NFL had reached out end of the year, so it was like December 29th, 28th, 29th, and they were the last of the four major sports I needed, and I started the four major sports in August. So to do all four, not even like trying to do all four. I mean, I just got connected to the Brewers. Then the NHL happened, the NBA happened with the Bucks piece, and the NFL literally just hit me with an email and said, "We have an idea for you and your art specifically. Can you pull this off?"
Okay, but hold on, hold on. All right. So you get this. They're like, we want you to do all 32 logos, right? They got to
Yep.
be big enough to touch and see, right?
Yep.
Which is how it gets to 3 foot by 3 foot, these big pieces. And these are not simple like combinations of, I mean, the Jaguars logo is ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
So was there a, oh my God, I don't have enough hours in the day potentially to do this? Or what was you didn't have any concerns?
No, we have one life, and if you're not putting your best foot forward every day to do what you can, I made some calls to some other wood artists and people I knew around the country. I said, "Hey, if I get in a bind, I'm buying you a flight. I'll pay your day rate. I don't care. Like, we got to do this project." So all the loose ends of what ifs were never there were good challenges. They weren't, I can't do this ever. That's not how I live.
Okay,
So
so let's have some fun. I'm trying to get people in the mind of your mind. So, okay. So you lay out all the logos and then do you just get as much stuff off the side of the road as possible and then see what can fit? Or do you say I need to go hunting for specific colors of things?
I mean, it was just I need a lot of wood in a very short amount of time. And it took about a month and a half ish from our first discovery call to when I was allowed to start. So from January 1st really until Valentine's Day, we were, figuring out the idea of how to bring this to life. We kind of ruled out doing color on day one. Their first question is, "Can you do this in color?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna be able to find every tone perfectly. What if we did all neutral tones?" And they were down. So getting
So
those
shades of grays and blacks and that kind
uh,
of thing.
shades of brown, yeah. So
Brown,
like
yeah.
light brown to dark brown. That was we had like five or six colors to work within, like different palettes of colors. So for really when we were in negotiations and figuring out the creative direction, I spent about 3 weeks when I wasn't on meetings to find wood. And I was like, well, if this contract doesn't come through, I'm just gonna have a ton of furniture sitting in my warehouse now.
Where do you find it? Like, give me
Uh,
the insight.
So, I mean, I hunt every day. I keep my eye out in certain subdivisions and alleys and stuff like that. This was the first time I had ever done public outreach. And I went on Instagram and Facebook and I said, "Hey, I have a big project potentially coming up. I can't talk about it, but I need unwanted, beaten up furniture." I said, "I'm not here to destroy good stuff that you guys still may use, but if there's stuff that's just collecting dust in your basement, the nice thing kind of is that you can't donate entertainment centers really to Goodwill or anywhere else.
Yeah, I heard that was one of the key pieces, right? An entertainment center.
Everything on this project, I've been trying to think. I think every single piece came from an entertainment center or a dresser. I don't think I used anything outside those two pieces of furniture. I used
And
the
you
mirror.
do you remember the people who, hey, that thank God for that lady. She helped me with the
I,
Bills logo.
I'm actually going to be surprising somebody with a piece of art that gave me a very specific thing for the Miami Dolphins piece. He doesn't know it yet, but
What was
one
it?
lady, it was the back of a mirror for a vanity. It was a vanity his parents had gotten it as a wedding gift, and it was a set, and it was just kind of falling apart. He said, "I don't need it. My kids don't want it. You know, please do with what you will with it." And he saw my Facebook post through a friend, and I picked it up, and right when I took the mirror off, I saw this like sunburst thing, and I knew exactly that the only piece that would work for would be the dolphins. So it is the orange external rays on the dolphins piece. Um, so there was stuff like that. There was an entertainment center from a family friend that is honestly in like 8 or 9 pieces. The background of the Jags, that's hers. The background of the Packers, the Cardinals, the Bills, it's in all these pieces, and it was one entertainment center. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it was just hunting and finding wood, and then they gave me the green light February 13th, and I started cutting the Patriots logo that night. That was the first one I did.
When you were that you then helped install it, I assume,
I
or
did
they
not.
did it all. Okay.
Yeah, so they're very particular about their union and the workers that are.
Fabricating and doing all that stuff. So where are you sitting on draft night?
I was actually right next to the stage.
Okay.
There was a stage, there was the live band right next to him. I was pretty much the closest person to the band.
So what was your reaction when you saw the hallway with all your stuff on TV for the first time?
It was just one of those moments everyone's asking about it and what are you going to do in that moment, and then that moment comes and you just don't really know what you should feel or how to react. It was crazy that by the second pick, Travis Hunter slapping it
Yeah.
became such a pinnacle moment, and everyone is just erupting about something with your art, and then every player thereafter was slapping it and doing something with it. And me, I was standing next to the NFL's creative team at the time, and we were all losing our minds. Like, we're having logistical issues or questions like, hey, which pieces would break if so and so slaps it? So the Carolina Panthers pick, I was keeping a very close eye because I said if he slaps this at all or does anything to the Panthers piece, that's the most likely to break. It was the most
Because it's the most fragile because it's what it's made up of.
made up of, and also how we layered it. Like the Jaguars was okay because it was all kind of a puzzle piece. It was all suctioned together. The Panthers were all the like the whiskers and the mouth and everything was on top of a piece of wood. So if you slap it or move your hands on it, it breaks for sure.
Right. So
So
there was some nervous energy going on there.
there was like 3 pieces. I was like, if they hit these, the Buccaneers was another one. So yeah.
Okay, where do these things go now?
So they are property of the NFL. Um, Whatever they decide to do with them is up to them. I'm abreast to the situation. I'm keeping track of it. I think it's a conversation they're having today here. The only insight I know and that I'm aware of is that they potentially will be auctioned at some point. Um, I would like to keep the story rolling and potentially have each of the first rounders interact with them, sign them, something. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be auctioned through the NFL as a whole, through each team's charity. It's to be determined, but they became such a pinnacle moment of this draft. The NFL just actually uploaded 10 minutes ago a huge montage of every person hitting them. So they became a huge part of this draft, and that was very unexpected.
What does this allow you to do for your career, your future business?
Hopefully, wake up tomorrow and keep cutting wood. I mean, I don't really think much beyond that. It's going to lead to some cool things, and it'll be a cool thing. You mentioned like the
More
Mike.
commissions,
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned the Mike Tyson piece. There are those pinnacle moments and pieces I've done. The Crayola box. This is the biggest collection I've done and the biggest art thing I've done, and I'm sure it'll be talked about for a while. But I mean, What I'm gonna do and cut wood tomorrow for, I don't really know yet, and that's the beauty of it. I seize out opportunities and things come knocking at my door. Like this NFL email was a cold email to me, and I just happened to see it in my inbox and reply. So, yeah, I've been hit up by a few people and a few organizations. We're having some talks, but nothing finalized.
Can you
I have,
envision like a sculpture or something like that?
I do want to like, yes, keep expanding myself and my career and my direction. The crayon box was a cool piece for me because it was three-dimensional and it was the first time I had interactive art with like pulling stuff off and a 3D sculpture, if you will. Um, I mean, I have my style and my flair with my art, but I don't pigeonhole myself to that. This project was 700 hours. I can't wait till I spend 1,000 hours on something. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. So,
Ike
yeah.
Wynter, first of all, congratulations. Awesome reception. I think everyone saw it and continued success. Really, really amazing art that, again, like because of the rules that you've defined for yourself and making it all natural, I think that that makes you, if someone doesn't want to buy your art, you're an automatic follow. So, congratulations.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I don't, this story has now been viewed hundreds of million times, and none of my art sold on Thursday night that's on my website, and I'm 100% okay with that. I'm not here to sell art or to make a lot of money. Those are not what I'm inspired by in life. I hope that my journey and I'm a kid from Milwaukee. I'm a kid from Milwaukee who picked up a dresser on the side of the road one day and cut it into some pieces, and I didn't grow up an artist. So like I hope by me documenting this and in the coming weeks I'll put out some powerful videos of where I come from and what I'm doing today. And I hope it just inspires people. That's all I care about. Like not even to be an artist, but just to be the best version of yourself every day. So that's all I care about.